Let's talk about a word that makes most people feel uncomfortable. A word that conjures images of joyless restriction, harsh self-denial, and a life stripped of spontaneity. The word is discipline. For many, it feels like a cage, a set of rules designed to punish our impulses and keep us from what we truly want. We see it as the opposite of freedom, the enemy of creativity, the death of joy. But this understanding, this common perception, is not just flawed, it's completely backward. It's one of the most profound and disempowering misunderstandings of our time. It keeps millions of people trapped, not in a cage of discipline, but in a prison of their own chaotic impulses, drifting through life at the mercy of their moods and fleeting whims. Because real discipline, it isn't a cage at all, it's the key that opens the lock. It's the raw material of personal sovereignty. It is, in the most fundamental sense, power. Not the brutish power over others, but the far more valuable and rare power over your own reality, your own mind, your own destiny. Stick with me, because we're about to dismantle this word, rebuild it from the ground up and unlock the immense force it contains. Part 1. The Great Misunderstanding. What discipline isn't. To grasp its true power, we first have to strip away the layers of false definitions we've been conditioned to accept. First and most importantly, discipline is not motivation. We live in a culture obsessed with motivation. We search for that jolt of inspiration, that perfect feeling that will finally catapult us into action. But motivation is an emotion, a chemical cocktail, a fair-weather friend who shows up when the sun is shining but vanishes at the first sign of a storm. It's great when you have it, but it's an utterly unreliable source of fuel for long-term progress. Discipline, on the other hand, is a system. It's an engine you build, piece by piece, that continues to run whether you feel like it or not. It's the commitment you make to a course of action long after the passionate mood you made it in has faded. Relying on motivation to build your life is like trying to build a house on shifting sand. Discipline is the conscious, deliberate act of laying a foundation on bedrock, brick by painstaking brick. Second, discipline is not punishment. This is a critical distinction that trips up so many. We associate discipline with the self-flagellation that follows a perceived failure or indulgence. We think of it as a harsh inner critic that berates us for our weaknesses. But that's not discipline, that's just self-abuse, and it's psychologically destructive. True discipline is an act of training, not shaming. Think of a world-class musician. When they practice scales for hours every day, are they punishing themselves for not being good enough? No. They are training their nervous system, their muscle memory, their entire being to become a vessel for beautiful music. They are consciously shaping themselves into someone capable of incredible performance. Discipline isn't about hating who you are now. It's about respecting who you want to become enough to do the necessary work to get there. It's a profound act of self-respect. And third, discipline is not restriction. It is intelligent focus. We fear that a disciplined life is a smaller life, a life with fewer options. The opposite is true. An undisciplined life is the ultimate restriction. A river without banks is just a swamp, wide, shallow, and stagnant. It has no power. As the banks, the structure, don't restrict the river. They give it the form it needs to flow with immense force and direction, to carve canyons and generate power. A camera lens focuses scattered light into a single coherent point to create a sharp, brilliant image. Without that focus, you just have a blur. Discipline is the set of banks for your life's energy. It's the lens for your attention. It's not about having less. It's about directing what you have with surgical intention to create more of what you truly value. Part 2. The true nature of power. How discipline forges it. Once we discard these false notions, we can begin to see the elegant mechanisms by which discipline creates genuine, usable power in our lives. First, it forges the power of integrity with yourself. This is the bedrock of all self-mastery. Every time you tell yourself, "I'll wake up early tomorrow," or "I'll read for 30 minutes instead of scrolling," you are making a sacred promise to yourself. Every time you break that promise, you send a tiny signal to your subconscious. My word is meaningless, I can't be trusted. This slowly, insidiously, erodes your self-respect and your belief in your own agency. But every time you keep that promise, especially when it's hard and no one is watching, you cast a vote for the person you want to be. You are building evidence. You are forging a bond of trust with the one person you can never escape, yourself. A person who trusts themselves has a foundation of unshakable internal power. Their word becomes law in their own inner kingdom. Second, it unleashes the power of compounding action. Our brains are notoriously bad at understanding the slow, creeping, explosive power of the compound effect. We dismiss small daily actions because they don't produce immediate, dramatic results. One workout doesn't transform your body. Writing one page doesn't create a book. Meditating for 5 minutes doesn't grant you instant enlightenment. So we stop. But discipline is the engine of the compound effect. It's the commitment to laying one brick perfectly every single day. At the end of a week, you might just have a small row of bricks. It looks insignificant. But after a year, you have a wall. After a decade, you have a fortress. Discipline is the quiet superpower that transforms insignificant daily inputs into monumental, life-altering outputs over time. It is the only force capable of bridging the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Third, it grants the power of freedom through structure. Here lies the great paradox that so many miss. We think an undisciplined life is freedom, but it's not. An undisciplined life is a prison of circumstance. You are a slave to your moods, your appetites, your whims, the opinions of others, and the immediate temptations of your environment. Your life is purely reactive, not deliberate. As psychologist Dr. Jordan Peterson often illustrates, it's order that provides the stable platform from which we can confront chaos and grow. A disciplined life creates structure, a reliable framework of positive habits and routines. It's within this self-imposed structure that true freedom is found. The musician who masters the discipline of scales and music theory is then free to improvise with breathtaking creativity. The writer who masters the discipline of grammar and sentence structure is then free to articulate the most complex and beautiful ideas. You build the bank so your river can flow powerfully toward the sea. Finally, it gives you power over your state of being. Drawing from the work of Dr. David Hawkins and his map of consciousness, we can see that our emotions exist on a hierarchy of energy. States like shame, guilt, and apathy are low-energy, disempowering states. States like courage, acceptance, and reason are high-energy, powerful states. Discipline is the practical, daily tool for consciously choosing to operate from a higher state. When you feel the pull of apathy telling you to stay in bed, the act of getting up is an act of courage. When you feel the fear of failure telling you not to start your project, the act of working on it for just 15 minutes is an act of courage. Discipline, then, is the training regimen for your consciousness. Each act strengthens your ability to choose your state rather than being a victim of it. You are literally training yourself to live at a higher, more powerful level of being. Part 3. Forging the Sword. How to build practical discipline. So understanding this is one thing, living it is another. So how do we build this power practically from the ground up? Rule 1. Start ridiculously small. Your ambition might be huge, but your first step should be laughably easy. As James Clear details in Atomic Habits, the goal is to make the habit so easy to start that you can't say no. Don't start with, "I'll work out for an hour every day." Start with, "I will put on my gym clothes." That's it. Don't start with, "I'll write a chapter." Start with, "I will open my laptop and write one sentence." You are not trying to achieve the goal in one go. You are trying to master the art of showing up. You are overcoming the activation energy. Momentum is built from tiny, consistent wins. Rule 2. Focus on the system, not just the goal. A goal is a point in the future. A system is a process you control in the present. Losing 20 pounds is a goal. Eating a healthy breakfast and walking for 20 minutes every day is a system. Goal-focused people work hard until they hit the goal and then often revert to old habits. System-focused people build the habits that make progress inevitable. Fall in love with the process, with the act of showing up every day. The results will take care of themselves as a natural byproduct. Rule 3. Embrace resistance as your guide. When you feel that internal friction, that feeling of "I don't want to do this," learn to reinterpret it. Don't see it as a signal to stop. See it as a signpost. Resistance points you directly to the boundary of your comfort zone. It is the friction that indicates you are precisely at the point where growth is possible. Leaning into that discomfort, just for a moment, is how the boundary expands. The workout that you don't feel like doing is often the most important one. The difficult conversation you're avoiding is the one that will bring clarity. See resistance not as an enemy, but as a sparring partner that makes you stronger. Rule 4. Never miss twice. You are human. You will have off days. You will get sick. Life will intervene. The perfectionist mindset says, I missed a day, so I failed. I might as well give up. This all-or-nothing thinking is the death of progress. The disciplined mindset has a different rule. I missed one day, that's fine. It happens. But I will not miss 2 in a row. This simple principle short-circuits the shame spiral. It allows for human error without letting one slip-up derail your entire journey. It builds resilience and teaches you that consistency is not about being perfect, but about always getting back on track. Finally, connect your disciplines to your why. Discipline without a deep underlying purpose is just empty labor. It won't last. You must know why you are building this power. Is it to create a life of peace and clarity for yourself and your family? To build a business that solves a problem you care about? To achieve creative mastery in your chosen art? To become a person of integrity and strength? Your why, your sense of meaning, is the fuel. Discipline is the engine. You need both to go anywhere worthwhile. So let's return to where we began. Discipline is not a cage that restricts you. It is the forged, sharpened key that unlocks the prison of your own inconsistency, your own impulses, and your own self-doubt. It is the power to choose, the power to create, the power to withstand the chaos of life without being broken by it. It is the deliberate, day-by-day process of taking the raw, untamed clay of your potential and molding it, through conscious effort, into the person you truly respect and admire. It is the act of building a self you can rely on, and in a world of uncertainty and noise, a self you can trust is the ultimate source of power and the only true foundation for a life of freedom and peace.